Hello, my name's Josh. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I've recently been through a divorce. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about something that really ended up helping me a lot through some of the processing of the difficult emotions that I had to process as part of the divorce. And really the principle is trying something new. And let me explain to you how that applied to me. So, by nature, I'm much more of a verbal processor. So, when I was really dealing with a lot of the difficult emotions that came from the troubles before the marriage, plus the divorce itself, verbal processing is how I best deal with things. Now, I would, like as I've spoken to in the past, I would meditate. That was very helpful for me. Counseling was great because it was a way for me to talk through things. I would talk to relatives and even close friends, and that was a way for me to process the emotions that I was going through. And it was very helpful to me. And I would say the majority of my healing came through verbal processing and meditation, and then also reading books and things of that nature. So those were all very useful tools for me. Now, I had heard about, a lot of people journal as a way to kind of process their emotions. And that really wasn't a thing for me. Journaling just isn't my thing. I don't really care for writing that much. And so it stands to make sense that journaling wouldn't be for me. So there was a certain point in time where I was really struggling with some certain things and some certain very difficult emotions, and no matter how much I would try talking through it, and to be honest with you, sometimes I would even talk to myself, but it didn't matter how much I talked about it, it didn't matter how much I meditated on it, I couldn't get to the core of the problem. And that's what I would usually do when I would process, is get to the core of the problem so then I can kind of pull that thorn out and start the healing process. But my problem was I couldn't get there. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get to that core issue. And so one afternoon, I was really struggling, and I went and sat down at my kitchen table and I said, I'm just going to try writing. I mean, I've heard about it. My counselor's talked about it. I've heard about it and might as well try it because what I'm doing is not working here. And so I started writing down what I feel. And as I was writing, I would say, I write down, I feel this because of this makes me also feel this, and just kind of writing it all down. And a kind of magical thing happened when I was writing it down. For me, what that thing was, I realized that, to explain it kind of in a simple way, I realized that I had this feeling which would be A. A led to B led to C led to D, but then D made me feel the exact same feeling that was A. And that was a revelation to me, because what I realized was I was stuck in a loop, that the reason I couldn't get to the bottom of this feeling was because I was stuck in a loop. And in order to heal, I would need to break the thought loop that I was stuck in, or the feelings loop that I was stuck in. And just that realization began the healing of that problem with myself. But that realization that I was stuck in a loop would never have happened if I didn't start writing it down. And for me, writing it down was something I just didn't do because it just didn't work for me. Typically, it didn't work for me. But here it did. And so as I've reflected back on that over, this was a couple years ago, as I reflected back on that, what I realized was, for some people writing's great. So, everyone has different ways of processing their emotions. But my lesson I took from that was, twofold. The first one was, if you're stuck, try something different. There's that famous saying, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results. Well, I had tools in this case that were helpful to me, and they had been helpful to me, but I couldn't figure this one thing out. And so it took trying something different to give me the perspective that I needed to solve the problem. I needed a fresh perspective, and that required me to do something different. So there's value in trying something different. So however you process things, if it's not working for you at the moment, try something new and see if that gives you that different perspective that you need to heal. The second lesson that I learned in that process of that is that I called it a pain loop. I don't know if there's a real name for that other than that, but I would get stuck in these pain loops or these pain cycles where the reason I wasn't healing was because I was stuck like in just a spin cycle. And that once I realized that thought and emotional spin cycle I was in, I could break that chain in essence, which allowed the healing to come in that needed to happen. Now, frankly, I wasn't healed overnight. It's not like, oh, boom, I was all better. But but I can tell you that I immediately felt some relief because of that recognition within myself. So I always tell people, when people talk to me about divorce, I talk to them about, beware of pain loops. I didn't have a lot of them, but when they would happen, now I had a way to deal with them. But before that, I didn't have a way to deal with them. And this was just a very helpful tool for me. So anyways, just to recap, if you're stuck, try something different to heal, and you may find it gives you a fresh perspective that helps you. And then the second one is beware of the kind of emotional and thought loops that you get stuck in, because sometimes the real problem is you're stuck in a loop. So anyways, my name's Josh. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm a member, but this channel is not endorsed by the church. I'm not a counselor or therapist. I've just been through a divorce and learned a few lessons along the way. And I hope they can help someone else. Thanks for coming to my channel.